Hello, everybody, and welcome to this live stream. Let's wait, make sure we're live. Kurt's also fixing issues with his audio repeater, so he'll be with us shortly. Let's just make sure we are live. Oh, looks like we are. Very good. All right. All right, Kurt, are you still here? Because I can't hear
Hello,
you if you
hello,
are.
hello,
There you
hello.
go. Hello.
Are you still echoey?
Let's see. Nope, no echo.
Oh, huh. I wonder if I fucked up my audio repeater. I must have done.
Yes, you messed up your repeaters. How very bad of you.
Yeah.
You mess up no good. Okay, well, welcome everybody.
Hi, everyone.
I'm glad that we're all here, and Kurt, I'm glad that you're here too. It's been a
Yeah.
while, not that long actually.
A whole 3 days, 4 days, 5?
Yes, yeah, exactly right. Not very long at all. And it is close to 90 here, literally. Can't believe how warm it is.
Oh, yeah.
But it's definitely quite warm.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized why you were echoey, too.
Oh, why was I echoey?
I know what I did wrong. I had changed my speakers to line 2 on StreamYard and didn't realize.
Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
Yep, that. I think that's what did it. uh,
Let's see. Just getting some audio settings set up, so
Bear with us, everybody. I hear children. Hi, children.
yes, I am sitting outside because it is so warm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's make sure everything is good. I had to get my audio repeater set up, and these things take a while to set up properly.
Yeah.
So that's why. Let's see here.
Oh, should I make mine again? I guess I probably should.
Okay, so now if I switch that to line 2, and I change my StreamYard settings, let's go to audio. This could break very quickly, so let's just see what
Yeah.
happens.
Oh, hello. Hello, Nimmer. I think you killed the repeater. Hello, hello, hello. I'm setting up mine too again. And we want line 2 to go. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can.
Good. Were you able to hear NVDA before?
A minute ago, yeah.
Good.
Mid on the third, first line, line on the third, first line. Mid on the third, first line, line on the third, first line, right third. Mid on the third, extended list, mid on the third, first line, mid combo box, mid on the third, first line, right third. Close button. Mid combo box, left third, MMX on number 50, right third, left third, delete the sound button.
What about me?
Oh,
Can
I
you hear
can
my
hear your
NVDA?
jaws.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And I'm not echoey anymore. Or you're
Good.
not echoey anymore.
Excellent.
Okay, cool.
Selection decided audio output device, combo box, line 2 left third, S left third, MMX on number 50, right third.
All right. Well,
Hi,
I'm very glad that you guys are here. If you're still here, that we were just mucking about with settings, and so we're actually ready to start now.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm ready.
Very good. All right. Well, today is. When are we going live?
It is
April
what,
7th?
April. Yes, that's it.
All right. So this is April 7th, and we're coming with you. It is 90 degrees here, close to it, nice and warm. Looks like there's 5 of you watching.
Hi, people.
Thank you very much. All kinds of tech. Hello, good morning from wherever this is. California. Oh, you're California too. That means you're very toasty as well. Hello. And this purpose for this channel is to cover more the Screenreader side. We do cover some general tech as well, but if you're coming over here from Sneed or somebody else, some other channel, we do thank you for subscribing. And get all your friends to subscribe, but unless you're interested in blind tech, you might find this a little boring. So, but it's always something new to learn. Happy Ramadan to everybody who celebrates Ramadan. Happy Ramadan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully you're taking the time to observe and reflect and fast. That's very good. And, of course, we've got some of the other holidays coming up soon, too. At Easter and Passover, I think those are in a week. So,
Yeah.
next week, yes. Anyway, happy holidays if you celebrate something. And very good. Today's broadcast, we are doing a few things. We're going to be talking about Screenreader comparisons more so, and why JAWS, in my view at least, Kurt is going to probably tell me why I'm wrong, is the best screen reader on the market that we currently have, and why I don't use it. But why it's the best screen reader on the market. And I'm going to demonstrate some of those features to you, and some of the settings options and things, to show you kind of why it is the much better screen reader on the market. And we'll talk about, are screen readers generally, are they innovating for the future?
You've got a lot to say about that, I'm sure.
I do have a lot to say about that particular side of it. So, are screen readers innovating for the future, and what can they do to further make that progress? If you hear kids in the background, I'm sitting outside. As I've said before, it's 90, and I'm not interested in being inside. So, there we go. We'll just have to deal with the noise. But I like kids, and hopefully some of you aren't too irritated by them. So
Yeah, not at all, actually.
there we go. All right, so let's start off with what's new in the news. And this week we've got a little bit of a light news section, not too much happening that I saw anyway, but I didn't look all that hard. So there's probably
me
other
neither,
things.
honestly.
And so feel free to send us stuff if you like, if you think that we should be talking about a specific news item. And that can be either mainstream news or blindness specific or anything else. But a few of the things I did see. GoodMaps Is it GoodMaps? Is that what it's called? GoodMaps. All right.
Oh yeah.
I have a different name for it, but GoodMaps, because we're going to try to be nice, at least for now. They're adding some new locations. So if you are at the Washington School for the Blind, the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network, the Seeing Eye, National Federation of the Blind, and the MSU STEM Building. And there are 4 more locations coming.
That's incredibly MSU. I think there are a lot of MSUs. Is that
I have no idea.
Michigan or Missouri or Mississippi?
Mississippi, maybe. I don't know.
Minnesota. I wonder if there's a Minnesota.
I probably I probably can look at the announcement and see, but I'm not sure. Anyway, there's like 5 locations that probably hardly anybody visits, but
right. I have a feeling it doesn't apply to any of our listeners, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, if you want to use this GoodMaps, at least it's expanding. I mean, if you can call it expanding when it goes to like 5 or 10 locations here and there across the country, but it's expanding.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, and it still has its outdoor stuff that
they've done nothing to fix and is still broken, and I've called them out. I've provided them feedback,
Right.
and nothing, no bug that I've so far reported to them has been addressed.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. So, still waiting, still hoping, but I have no faith in this company that they will actually do anything of value to the blind. And let's just leave it at that, because otherwise I'll go into a bigger ramble and we'll lose all our memberships and all that. So, there's a new app. If you want to take a picture of Braille and have it translated into text. I don't know how hugely accurate this is. I haven't played with it, but I can say it can be helpful if you're helping someone who's blind with, something, or if you are one of those TVIs who kind of knows Braille by sight reading, and you can, now just take a snapshot, make your life a lot easier. I don't know. Might be helpful if you're learning Braille too. If you have some residual vision or whatever, but if you're learning Braille, take a snapshot of it. It'll tell you if the text is right. I think this can be a powerful tool. So, there's a link for that. So if you're interested, visit that link.
Is it on both platforms, or is it just?
It's on iOS.
Oh,
Yep.
Surprise!
Yep. If you want to be a safe hunter, you can go to Idaho, because apparently they passed some legislation that allows hunters and fishers and hunters or whatever to use some different technologies to help them hunt safer. I don't know much about this, but it sounded interesting, so we're putting the article in here because there we go.
Yeah.
So if you like to hunt, go to Idaho. I don't know what you're hunting in Idaho. Maybe potatoes? But I'm sure there's other stuff to hunt.
There's
but
probably like deer and.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got other stuff to hunt. I'm just spouting some more nonsense. So let's see. We've got 6 watching. Oh man, everybody's interested in this conversation about Jaws.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. All right. Well, before I get going on this, I will say that Screenreader preferences are preferences. People have their own choices, and please don't sit here and think that I'm trying to convince you to switch away from your preferred Screenreader, because that isn't what I'm trying to do. Your preferences are your own, and I'm not going to rip NVDA out of your hands or any other screen reader out of your pockets. Don't worry. These are just our own views. And if you have your own and you'd like to come on and discuss them, feel free. Reach out. It can be tweeted at Nimmerjabber. You can email, whatever you'd like to do. We can put the link in the chat if you want to come join us. In fact, I should do that. Put the link in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely. We might have some. That's a great idea for this particular conversation, especially.
Yeah, we might end up with a few bots coming and joining us, but that's okay. We'll block them.
We can kick them out.
Let's see, invite guest. Copy to clipboard. All right, so I put the link in the chat. So if you'd like to join in, click that link. And if you don't have any clothes on, please put some on or turn your camera
Or turn off your webcam, right? Hey, I don't have to worry about that.
I suppose not. You have a webcam, yes. Or, I mean, you don't have a webcam.
Yeah, I should fix that. Anyway.
Yes. All right, so first off, I will say I'm not a JAWS user very much. I do have JAWS, but I am not a heavy JAWS user. I spend most of my time in Windows land, in Chrome OS, or in Linux with a little bit of Mac. So I would say, and in Windows, I'm using NVDA. I should say that. So I'm not really a huge JAWS user, even though I'm here telling you why it's the best screen reader. It's kind of funny, isn't it? The person who doesn't use JAWS is telling you why it's the better screen reader. The reason I don't use JAWS is very simple. I decided to learn Dvorak a few years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago. Dvorak is a keyboard layout which is supposed to make your typing a little bit easier, faster, and just generally more natural because you're alternating hands for most of your typing instead of typing a lot of words with one hand. And so I find using Dvorak to be easier, just more natural. I don't know, I've gotten accustomed to it. I don't really actually think it makes my typing any faster. But in order for me to go back to using QWERTY, I would have to pretty much relearn how to type. And I could, with a month or something. Like, I know where the letters are, but it takes a lot of thought to actually type in QWERTY for me right now. The problem with JAWS is that its commands are very much tied to the QWERTY keyboard layout. So what I mean is, when I press H to go to the next heading, that's the command on the web to go to the next heading in a screen reader. And if I press that command, H in JAWS is where H is on the QWERTY keyboard, even if I change my keyboard layout to Dvorak. I have reached out to Freedom Scientific about this issue a number of times, have been ignored repeatedly. I don't think that they're interested in solving it, but I did make the promise to Eric that if they get Dvorak support fixed, I will go out and buy the professional version of JAWS the same day. So if they're interested in having me as a customer, because for the most part, I do find JAWS to be the better screen reader, so if they are interested in having me as a customer, really that's all it would take, is for them to not bind their keyboard commands to keyboard layout. Now, some of you JAWS users might be telling me and screaming your heads off that, oh, yes, you can remap all the hotkeys. And yes, you definitely sure you can. But that's a lot of hotkeys to go through and sit there and remapping every single one of them for Dvorak.
And JAWS has a ton of hotkeys.
It has tons and tons of hotkeys. I'm not interested. And if Freedom Scientific wants to send me a key map file for Dvorak, maybe I'll consider using it, although it's still going to be a pain because every time I hop on a new machine, then I have to remember to take that file with me or that configuration with me. So we got a mystery person, don't we?
We do.
Who's that? Quentin.
It is.
Oh,
Quentin.
Is there any Coca-Cola?
Hello, Quentin.
hello, Quentin.
Hello, Nimmer. Hello, Kurt.
Well,
Hi.
I have some Coca-Cola sitting inside my house. It is not outside at the moment.
Well, good old glass bottle.
We've got 9 people watching. Oh, I guess this is
Very
really
nice. This is a
stream.
popular topic here.
Definitely interesting. So,
Interesting for allowing me to be up here.
Of course.
yeah, you're welcome to hang out. Happy to have you here. Anyone else who wants to pop in, the link is in the chat. So feel free to pop in and tell us about your screen reader preference.
Well, I'm as you know, I use a little bit of everything. JAWS, NVDA, Although I'm starting to like NVDA a lot more, and Narrator's not a quite bad fit, but you know, still has some ways to go. But Narrator is really good. It's came a long way.
Narrator has come a long way, and you're mostly, what did you say, a JAWS user?
I've been using NVDA now, but
You're mostly an NVDA user. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And I think it's really good that you are using multiple options because I think, a Screenreader is a tool, and the more tools that you have in a toolbox, then generally the better off that you are as a blind person trying to accomplish tasks, because one screen reader tends to work a little better in one thing and might tend to maybe not work as well in something else. And so just having access to those tools is a really good thing. So I found a lot of limitations when just sticking to one screen reader.
Yep, I agree. I think where that is hard, though, is for newly blind people learning screen readers.
That's right.
I mean, I totally agree. I switch between JAWS and NVDA multiple times during a day, but it's like, I mean, that's a lot to keep track of that sighted people don't have to keep track of.
Yeah, that's exactly right. By the way, I forgot to say that, I was going to do a giveaway on this stream. I guess it's not too late to do a giveaway.
No.
So, at the end of the stream, I'm going to give a word. And if you're still tuning in at the end of the stream, I'm going to give it at the very end. So, you got to tune in all the way at the very end. You're going to email the word. I'm going to give you a word. I'm going to email the word to the email address that I'll give you. And next week we'll do a drawing at the very beginning of the next stream. So we usually come live on Thursdays. We'll do a drawing. And the drawing is for $100 in either a gift card or PayPal, whatever it is that you like, PalPay, however you like to receive it. Amazon gift card, that kind of thing.
What about $100 in Coca-Cola?
Well, I can send the Coke truck your way there, Quentin.
All right.
Except I'll probably hijack it first.
Or pizza.
Sure, if you want a pizza gift card, you have at it. Anyway, so we'll do that. So I'll give an email address at the end of the stream, and feel free to send an email out with the word, and you will be in the drawing. And then next week, the way I'll do it is I'll assign a number to every person, and I'll do a random number generator. Just Google random number generator. And that's what we'll do.
Nice.
All right. So here's my view of JAWS and why it's the better screen reader. There are probably a lot of things why it's the better screen reader, but I will talk about some of them. And one of them happens to be one of my very favorite features of JAWS, and that is the text analyzer. Now, we've done a demo of the text analyzer in the past. I have another video on it, but essentially what that does is when you've written up something, you can use this text analyzer to help you know if you've got missing punctuation, missing parentheses, a missing bracket, something that is, some font change that happened that maybe you didn't expect to happen, anything like that, any inconsistency that maybe you didn't want in your document. Maybe you did, and you can just skip past it, but maybe you didn't. And it will help you in polishing that document. And I would have to say that text analyzer feature of JAWS is something that is really a very powerful, quite a powerful feature, and I'm glad it exists. Because, so in NVDA, you can turn on, and as you can with any screen reader really, you can turn on the announcement of punctuation, the announcement of font size, the announcement of all these things. But then, of course, you start reading something and it gets very verbose. You get color black, Arial font Arial, this, that, size 12, this, blah, 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 blah. Gets to be very verbose. Whereas with JAWS, you can simply have most of that stuff off unless you need it, and just simply rely on that text analyzer. And I find that it works really well. NVDA does not have this thing. Speaking of reading through a document, another thing that JAWS has is this distinction of doing a say-all versus just reading a document, with arrow keys. And you can assign different sound schemes for different elements. And what I really find this helpful is instead of hearing on the web, when you're browsing the web, instead of hearing link something, visited link something else, heading something else, you can assign all of those to different sounds. So you can get a sound for the different link. You can get a sound for a heading. You can get a higher sound for a higher heading level. These are really helpful features of JAWS to be able to adjust your sound scheme. And I can demonstrate that now, but there are also some for fonts and font, changes. So there's a lot of different sound schemes that you can choose from, and of course you can make your own. So let's see, if I want to muck about with audio cable, or do I want to muck about with screen sharing? Let's do audio cable, I suppose.
Yeah.
Let's start my cables.
I didn't find an easy keystroke to change JAWS's audio source, though.
I'm sure there is a layered keystroke, but I don't know. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to change StreamYard. Apologies, everybody. It'll be 1 second here.
When I looked for it in the command search, there was a command to open up the JAWS window from anywhere. And it said, do this if you want to change synthesizers.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear NVDA? No, you
No.
can't.
No.
No, you can't. Okay. Let's start JAWS. I wasn't expecting you to. So that's good. All right, let's start JAWS. And let's
Do you always
go
start
to-
JAWS from the run?
I do.
Cool, that's what I do too.
Let's see. Do I have a... man, I don't have a JAWS insert key on this machine, do I? I usually use an external keyboard.
You're stuck in laptop layout.
Actually, I don't have laptop layout.
Oh, so how do you do insert key?
Well, that's what I'm trying to work out right now. Trying to open up the JAWS menu. There we go. Okay, I'm going to open up from the system tray. Utilities, sounds card. And let's see, I want line 2, I think.
Leaving menus. Toolbar, JAWS for Windows button.
There we go.
Audio repeater 1.60.2, 83%, 100%.
Okay,
Audio
you
repeater
can hear
1.60.2,
JAWS.
2 channel conflict, LFR, CLF, DLR, FLCF. StreamYard camera microphone recording Google Chrome. Desktop folder view list 2, top speed
Oh,
8,
good.
28.
I can't hear JAWS.
Ooh, top speed 3. You have top speed
StreamYard Google Chrome.
3.
StreamYard camera microphone recording Google
I
Chrome.
do. I was playing around with that earlier. Let's see if it installs in 11. Somebody was asking me about it.
StreamYard broadcast button, memory, Facebook profile, broadcast status button, menu,
But I
broadcast
can't
status
hear
button,
JAWS.
Twitter broadcast status button, menu.
So
Uh-oh.
let's see.
Did you, now it was your turn to break your repeater. Maybe.
My repeater, I don't think is broken. I think it might be a JAWS issue.
Select synthesizer dialog. Synthesizer combo box. ECNG. Audio output device. Combo box. Microsoft Sound. Headphone line 1. Line 2. Virtual audio cable 406.
Let's try line 2.
Whoa. And now I hear 2 JAWSes.
Yep, that's NVDA. Okay. Let's stop the repeaters, I suppose.
Audio repeater 1.60.2. Audio stop button 1.
Stop that repeater.
Oh, you're going to do a screen share and I'll need to be quiet?
I'm going to... I'm trying to figure out why my... okay. I think... Trying to figure out how these repeaters go. Hold on, everybody. Apologies.
Yeah, we've never actually done this with JAWS before. Oh. Let's see. Do I dare? Ha! Hey, when I changed mine to line 2, it worked.
Menu, 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 voice assistant submenu, JAWS anthem submenu, screen change, surplus, synthesizer, Braille, sound card submenu, O, Windows default sound card, W.
Nimmer will be back in a minute. These audio repeaters are just very finicky. But, yeah, I definitely have... I mean, I do definitely agree with Nimmer that JAWS has many more features. It's much more robust. Not even just the text analyzer and the sound scheme, but like the OCR. You know, there are more options for if you want to have it scan your whole screen or window or just the specific control you're on. JAWS links better with Word.
100%. Audio review,
Hello.
Wave combo, slide, wave combo, start button, help button.
There's Nimmer.
Start button, 100%, 100%.
Hello.
100%.
Hi.
Audio review 1.60.2, 100%, 100%, 100%.
Good.
Exit NVDA guide restart, exit 104. Audio review 1.6.
Now I've got
100%,
JAWS.
100%. Audio review 1.60.2. Screen Google Chrome.
Did you hear my JAWS when I had it on for a sec?
Yep. Can you hear? Everything is able to be heard, right?
Yeah.
End broadcast button, end broadcast button.
All right. You guys can hear me and JAWS. Good.
Desktop, folder view is new, via, taskbar.
All right. So let's go to
Screen Google Chrome.
the system
Desktop,
tray.
folder, taskbar, show hidden icons button.
Show hidden icons.
DLC media player 2028. Taskbar, show hidden icons, privacy apps using your show hidden icons button. Overflow notification area toolbar. Toolbar bluetooth devices button. Toolbar computer enabled to communicate. Toolbar button. Toolbar Windows
Where's
Secure Toolbar
JAWS?
Teams Play Control. Toolbar because audio button. Toolbar Microsoft Teams button. Toolbar everything button. Toolbar Google Drive button. Toolbar JAWS for Windows button.
There we go. There was JAWS.
JAWS context menu option sub menu.
All right. Let's go to the utilities menu.
Basics.dot.me.
Oh, hey, Harshid's
Options,
saying...
utilities, language sub,
Harshid
utilities,
is
voice assistant
here.
Hello, Harshid. What is he saying?
Harshid was saying insert in space and then C for sound card.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a setting for it. So,
JAWS anthem sub, screen change, surplus space.
in this case, I don't have an insert key. So let's
Synthesizer,
go
Braille, sound card sub menu.
to
O. Settings center key.
Settings Center.
Leaving menu. Toolbar JAWS for Windows button. Default all applications. JAWS settings center dialog. Search box edit. Control plus E.
And right now it's set to all applications. If I want to assign a hotkey or a command for a specific application, I can easily do that, as you can with most screen readers. In this case, I'm going to search for something called sound schemes. So I'll just start typing in sound. And
No
let's hit no matches. Oh, why not?
T-N-U-O-S. Lang.
Oh.
No matches. Voice speech cut off when using Bluetooth
That's
headphones.
because I don't know how to spell. So let's hit down arrow.
Page search results list box. Voice speech cut off when using Forms mode sounds open. Forms mode. Enable sound notifications check. Forms mode. Select sound for rendering. Forms. Select sound for reading. Play JAWS sounds check. List speech option. Speech and sound schemes.
Speech and sound schemes. Very good.
Active speech and sound schemes. Active speech and sound schemes. Say all text with sound. Speech and sound schemes.
And the active sound scheme is say all text with sound. So again, there's different options.
Web Ready Crowd 1920.
Web rent a crowd. So this is for different things on the web. It'll play different voices.
Word Classic 2020. Attributes and colors 1 of 20.
attributes and colors. There's a lot of these.
Classic with flow to and flow from 3 of 20. Classic attributes and font info 4 of 20. Classic attributes 5 of 20. Classic attributes font and color 6 of 20. Classic with quotes 7 of 20. Colors 8 of 20.
Can't tell you what all of these do.
And then tab is spaces 10 of 20. And then tab is 4 spaces 11 of 20. And then tab is 2 spaces 12 info 14 of 20. Proofreading attributes and font info 14 of 20. Proofreading attributes 15 of 20. Proofreading attributes font info and color 16 of 20. Say all text only 17 of 20.
Oh,
Say all text
that's
with sound
cool.
18 of 20.
Say all text with sound.
Speech and sound. Active speech. Search box edit sound. Control. Application. Combo box. Default all cancel button. OK button. Toolbar JAWS for Windows button. StreamYard Google Chrome. StreamYard 10 broadcast button. Main region. Appears blank. Full screen button. Blank. Unlabeled blank. Curse.
All right, let's go to Google. Let's see. We'll get a new tab.
New tab. Google Chrome. Canary. Tool. Google.com. Google.com. Selected. Google alert. This site can access your location. Change the setting. Google edit combo search. Google graphic. Google account. Google apps button collapsed. Gmail images. About store. Google. Google. About store.
You hear that sound?
Gmail images.
Yeah.
Images. Gmail. Images. Gmail.
Those are, it plays a little sound. Those are links.
Images. Gmail. Images. Gmail.
I also have smart navigation turned on, which might be confusing some people, but when reading it displays everything on one line, and if you want to get to a specific link on, if there's multiple links, you can use arrow keys or tab or whatever, but smart navigation makes reading a web page a lot more fluid, I would say. But we can turn that setting off, but that would be my third thing that I actually like about JAWS, is that it has so many different navigation modes, smart navigation being one of them, and that it makes accessing the web more fluid. So let's actually do a search on, I don't know, well, Quentin seems to like Coke, so Coke, Wikipedia.
Accessibility links. Search modes. Search results. Web results.
And that sound indicates a heading.
Coca-Cola Wikipedia. Web results. Search results. Search modes. Search results. Web results.
Those are headings.
Coca-Cola Wikipedia.
So let's go to... And as you see, as I'm navigating the web, I'm getting so much less chatter about links and everything else because they're being played with sounds, which is exactly what I want. And they're kind of discrete sounds, but they are sounds nonetheless, and you can change the sounds too. But
Coca-Cola Wikipedia. Coca-Cola Wikipedia.
So let's go to this website, and let's see what it's like reading a web page with smart navigation.
From Wikipedia, the site jump to navigation, jump to search. Note: this article is about the beverage first manufacturer. See the Coca-Cola Company for the Brazilian subway station. See. Coca-Cola station.
As you notice, it read that line as one line instead of separating it out into the little bit of the line and then the link.
This article is about the beverage first manufacturer. See the Coca-Cola.
And that little click indicates that there's a link there. So you didn't have that whole this link article or whatever.
Article. This article. Space. A. R. Is about beverage. About is about beverage. Period. For is manufacturer. Comma. See. Coca. Period. Coca-Cola Company. Note. This article is about Coca-Cola station. Note end. Note. Coca-Cola Classic rewrites here for the college football game. See Coca-Cola Classic college football.
So it makes browsing this so much more fluid.
See. Coca-Cola Classic golf. Note end. Note.
And you can still do links lists and everything else. None of that stuff goes away, but it makes reading a web page a little bit easier.
Not to be confused with Coca-Cola. Note end. Table with 2 columns in Coca-Cola. Graphic Coca-Cola logos. Graphic Coca-Cola bottles. Type row 3. Manufacturer row 4. Company origin row 5.
And as I'm reading a table, another thing that you can do in Smart Navigation is instead of using separate table commands, now that it knows I'm in a table, I can easily use just left, right, up, or down to move through the table. So I hit right arrow.
The Coca-Cola Company column 2. Manufacturer column 1.
And left arrow. And down arrow.
Company origin row 5.
No, that's cool.
And right arrow.
United States column 2.
And it's very easy to traverse through a table this way without having to use Control, Alt, up and down, or left and right arrow keys. And by the way, for some of you, that means that you're literally flipping the screen upside down because some of the video cards out there use that keyboard command as a rotate the video card, rotate the image. So your display.
Introduced May 8th, 1886. One color. Arrow 150 variants. List of 9 related products. FTR's website. Visit Coca-Cola.com. Row left table N. Coca-Cola Coke is a carbonated soft drink manufactured by the Coca-Cola Company. Originally marketed as a temperance drink and intended as a patent medicine. It was invented in the late 19th century by John Stiff Emerson in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1888, Emerson sold Coca-Cola's ownership rights to Ace, a great gambler, a businessman whose marketing tactics led Coca-Cola to its dominance of the global soft drink market throughout the 20th and 21st century.
So it's so much more fluid to read an article this way. And, with any other screen reader, you can't really do this. NVDA has an add-on for sounds, but even that is not as fluid to read a web page as this is. The touch cursor is probably my fourth thing that we touched on before, and NVDA has this kind of that you can enable by enabling a hotkey, but the touch cursor is really powerful.
Sure.
So that's probably fourth thing. There's a lot of settings within JAWS. There's, of course, the voice assistant. There's the feature for flexible web, where you can literally choose which parts of the web page you want to be displayed or read. So if you're in a workplace and you use a specific site a lot, you can really customize that. And that feature is helpful as long as the web page doesn't change.
Right.
JAWS has a ton of really,
Place markers.
really. What's that?
Place markers.
Oh, place markers. Yes, NVDA does not have place markers, but again, there's a feature where you can. NVDA can if you again have an add-on, but JAWS is really powerful in that. Yeah, you can assign either temporary or permanent ones. You can jump to that place marker anytime you'd like. So if you leave a web page and come back, as long as you set that permanent place marker, you can easily get back to where you were. If you use that a lot, and you can do that in documents as well. So it can really be helpful. So a lot of options in Word, Sheets, Slides, all these things for additional customization. I'm going to go get an external keyboard. Why don't you keep talking? Because I'm going to try to demo a little bit of that, but I need an insert key. So
Understood. So I guess what I will say, and when Nimmer's done with this, I'll give kind of my more streamlined thoughts, I guess. But I feel like JAWS's greatest strength is kind of its greatest weakness. You've got so many features like this that are indeed very powerful and can be super helpful to make everything you're doing more efficient. But there's so many of them, and there's so many commands, and it's a lot to keep track of. And I say that as somebody who's a fairly tech-savvy person. And, I like JAWS. I use it a lot, and I love these features Nimmer's talking about. But there's a lot of them, and there's so many things you can customize. Are you back?
hello.
Hello.
Hello. All right, so we got a keyboard. Do we still have anybody watching?
Let's see.
Maybe nobody wanted the.
There's
Maybe nobody wants the. What do you call it?
The
The
$100.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, there's a giveaway, but you have to stay tuned to the end of the broadcast for $100.
Very good.
All right. I now have a very good mechanical keyboard. Very good. All right. So let's open up Word.
100%, button available.
Oh, very good. I don't think I meant to run this version of JAWS in the latest Windows 11, but I am. NVDA works a little better. But let's see here.
Document 1 Word, edit.
Okay, got a Word document open. Let's press
Space, blank.
here, insert key in the letter V,
Quick settings, Word dialog, search box, edit, Control+E.
and let's see what all we can do. By the way, JAWS has a search box for all its settings. This is something that NVDA does not have. This is something that VoiceOver does not have. Other screen readers don't have this. Orca doesn't have. Orca is another great screen reader for Linux. All these are great screen readers, but JAWS is just a little step ahead. But let's see what settings we have.
Preview 0, Word settings, open, date items. 1, speech and sound scheme, always the same, 1 of 8, Word settings.
So we could change the speech and sound scheme
Zero, Word
just
settings,
for Word, which is really helpful. If you want, for example, Word to be on a proofreading style, and you want the rest of it, when you're browsing the web, for instance, to be on a, that say all with sounds that I was demonstrating.
1, formatting, open. 2, bullet type indication on 106, formatting, Word settings.
So again, you can choose whether you want bullet type on or off.
F1, no prompt on. Settings and settings level.
I don't know what that F1 whatever. So there's a lot of settings. I can't tell you exactly what they do because I don't spend a lot of my time in JAWS. And yeah.
F1, settings and settings level.
So headings, you can change how those are announced or played or whatever.
Off 1 of 3. On 2 of 3. Heading level 3 of 3.
So you can have them on, which should just say heading, or heading level with level, or off.
Measurement units set to inches default.
You can change the measurement units.
Shading detection not checked.
Shading detection,
Style changes off.
which is really helpful. Style changes, again, for if you're working with colleagues who do a lot of this kind of stuff to
Right.
documents and you want to be able to know about this stuff, it's really helpful to turn it on. And again, other screen readers don't have as much of this at all.
1. Tables open. 4 items worth 2. Automatic table titles both row and column 1 of 4. Tables word settings.
So again, you can have the table row and column titles, the row and column titles read out.
Cell coordinates announcement checked.
Cell coordinates,
Table detection checked. Description checked.
table detection,
Table description checked.
description. I guess this speech rate's probably too fast, isn't it?
Slower. 1. Editing options open. 2. Autocorrect detection not checked. 1 of 4. Editing options word
Again,
set.
auto correct detection.
New lines and paragraphs indication off.
These are the default settings, but again, if you do a lot of editing when using JAWS, you might want to change these.
Tab measurement indication checked. Track changes speak type. 1. General options open. 1. 2. Document presentation.
And all
simple
these
layout.
settings
1
will
of
only apply
1.
to Word,
Reading
right?
options
Because
open.
you opened up
That's
the quick
right.
settings in Word.
That's right.
2. Outline level indication checked. 1. Bookmark indication off. Border changes not checked. Comments, footnotes, and endnotes detection on. Item counts speak before text. Line spacing detection not checked. Include blank paragraphs for paragraph navigation not checked. Navigation quick keys checked. Object count detection
We
checked.
have 3 watching.
Non-breaking symbols indication by characters only.
Oh, did we bore everybody? That's good.
Page, section, and multiple column breaks
Oh,
checked.
well, I guess they'll be lucky if they get the $100.
Header
Yeah.
and footer detection not checked. 1. Braille option. 2. Braille bullet type indication. Context.
So again, there's tons of options
Edit.
here, and all of these are for just Word, and a lot of apps have their own specific settings. So let's, for example, go into Chrome.
Microsoft Word. Don't save. A
Don't
businessman
save.
whose marketing tactics.
Oh.
Okay, now we're on Word. Let's hit Insert V.
Quick settings. Chrome dialog.
Chrome now,
Search
right?
box edit.
Now we're in Chrome.
Tree view 0. Virtual cursor options open 11 items. 1. Virtual cursor verbosity level medium 1 of 11.
So we
Virtual
can change the
cursor
verbosity for virtual cursor.
high 3 low 1 of 3 medium 2. Allow web application reserved keystrokes checked.
Web application reserved keystrokes.
Select and copy full content using on-screen highlight.
So there's a lot of options here that control exactly how JAWS behaves on the web.
Read-only state announce. Forms options open 2. Auto forms mode semi-auto 1 of use sound checked. Navigation quick key delay never. Buttons show using screen text. Form fields identify prompt using label tag.
And some of these you would say, you know, somebody might argue, well, these are more like advanced user settings, but they can be the difference between being able to access something, how you're accessing it, how efficiently you're accessing it, and not being able to access it at all, just depending on how you have your JAWS settings set.
Forms
Sure.
mode off when new page loads checked. 1. General option 2. Announce count of links, headings, etc. when page loads checked. 1 of 3.
So a lot of these things you can very much customize, whereas other screen readers don't give you this.
Smart navigation mode controls and tables.
You can say that it's overwhelming, but, you know, I think that's why they have a
also
search
what's
box.
Yeah.
Document and web pages automatically read when loaded checked. Navigation quick keys on. Document presentation navigation document and
So let's turn off this virtual navigation,
Smart
or smart
navigation.
navigation, and let's see what it's like reading a web page without it.
off 1 of 3.
There we go.
You've still got your sound scheme on, though,
Main
right?
region ASA
I do have my sound scheme on, yes.
Coca-Cola Wikipedia. Main region graphic page semi-protected.
So I'm hitting down arrow,
Coca-Cola blank.
down arrow again,
From
down arrow
Wikipedia, the
again,
free encyclopedia blank.
down arrow again.
Jump to navigation. Jump to search.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Note. This article is about the beverage. For its manufacturer, see the Coca-Cola
Yeah.
Company. For the Brazilian subway station, see Botafogo/Coca-Cola station. Note end. Note. Coca-Cola Classic redirects here for the
So I'm having to hit a
college
lot
football
of
for the
down
golf
arrows to
tournament.
get through
See
this article.
Coca-Cola note end.
I feel like
Note.
NVDA by
Not to
default
be
is even a
confused
little
with
better than this.
Coca-Cola. Note end. Table with 2 columns and
NVDA is
11
probably
rows.
about the same.
Coca-Cola.
So now I'm in a table, so if I want to read this table, I have to use table commands, because if I just use right arrow,
O-C-A-C-O-C.
I'm
Charlie.
reading by character.
Yeah.
Now you can read by character in the other mode, but you have to get into character reading mode first.
End of row, beginning of row, bottom of graphic Coca-Cola bot type, row 3, cola, column type, manufacturer.
So you can read by table, but again, there's just a lot more hotkeys to get to different sections.
Color, row 8,
And there's a lot more pressing down arrow and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'll do a comparison. I'll turn on NVDA here.
Unloading JAWS, new node.
Bye-bye, JAWS. There we go. So here we have this page. Can you guys hear NVDA?
Yeah.
Good. Down arrow. Down arrow.
See, at least it's not putting the links on their own separate lines here. Like,
JAWS wasn't either. It was just playing an audio sound for them. But, I mean, if I had links reading,
yeah.
then it wouldn't do that either. But there's still a lot more down arrows to press to get to different places. More.
Oh, sure, compared to the smart navigation, for sure.
Yes, yeah. And in table mode, you still have to use Alt Control, right and left arrow, and things like that. So there's just more. There's just more presses of the down arrow. There's more information read out. And of course, NVDA in its default mode does not. You can turn the speaking of links on or off, but that's all you can do. You can't say I want to hear just sounds or something like that. And so reading a web page is so much less efficient in an NVDA than it is with JAWS. Even simply just because of that reason. Yeah. Can you think of any other features I should be demoing there, Kurt?
So, I mean...
Because there's a lot of features that JAWS has.
JAWS has a ton of features, and I don't even know all of them, and I've used JAWS for years. I do think JAWS has more options for OCR. It's hard to demo, like, on the fly, but... You know, if OCR's not doing what you want, you have more kind of granular control. Whereas NVDA, like, you just have one OCR option. Trying to think. I mean, there's the Research It feature, but I don't use that one very much.
Yeah, I would argue that shouldn't be a screen reader feature, but it does help with... It does help if you want to look up something on the fly, like the weather or something like that. But I would argue that really you should just use Google, and it shouldn't. That's not really that's more like a screen reader add-on.
Yeah.
I don't think that's actually making your computer. That's not providing information that you wouldn't otherwise have access to.
Right.
So that's kind of how, in my view anyway, that's how I distinguish what a screen reader does and what extra screen reader features are. For me, a screen reader is like something that's given access to something that is readily visible on the screen, that is readily available. And something like the Research It tool kind of provides magic for JAWS users in that it lets you access things that you otherwise wouldn't actually have on the screen, unless you used a Google or something else, which is completely accessible by itself. So,
right.
That's kind of my view on it, but...
The Research It might be a more efficient way than opening up a website, but I don't know.
It probably is a little more efficient, but again, I don't know that we necessarily as screen reader users need magic tricks. There's a lot of magic that you can kind of do with a screen reader to make it do all kinds of things for you. But like, where does that stop, and where does the line blur between a screen reader and like a personal assistant, or I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, like, we're already kind of at enough of a disadvantage with accessibility that, like, I'll kind of take whatever help I can get most of the time, unless there are, like, security trade-offs or... There are parts of JAWS that I don't like so much, though. I think the biggest one is Forms mode. I don't like how JAWS does Forms mode compared to NVDA. And I don't like... When I'm using web apps, for example... and this isn't a very big deal, but when I have to turn the virtual PC cursor
JAWS
off,
button unavailable.
I have not found a way for it to say, use virtual, like it'll always say, use virtual PC cursor on, use virtual PC cursor off. NVDA, when you change from focus to browse mode, it's just a little sound. So I find like NVDA is slightly more efficient in web apps, generally. I don't know what your take on that is, Nimmer, but I also find that JAWS, like, I think if you're running an older computer that, you know, maybe you've only got 8 gigs of RAM to work with and a processor from like 4 or 5 years ago, NVDA probably will run better.
Yeah, maybe. I know JAWS has done a bit of optimizing to make it run pretty well. As for web apps, yeah, there's the thing that confuses a lot of people with JAWS is there's a lot of different modes. You know, you've got virtual PC, you've got PC, you've got JAWS, you've got invisible, you've got touch, you've got all these quote-unquote cursors that I curse because as a trainer, they make it very difficult to teach a product when you have like 25 different ways to do something, and there's not really a good, if you want this, do that. If you want that, do that. It's kind of like, well, you know, this might work, and if it doesn't work, try this, and if it doesn't work, try... That's a lot of ambiguity.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, with NVDA, I also don't like kind of a more flattish review like JAWS has with things where you use JAWS cursor and literally everything's just kind of on the screen somewhere, and you can't really jump into or out of objects as much or as well. And so if there's a list, you have no choice but to go through that list. Whereas with NVDA, you can choose to go into it or out of it. Yeah.
Speech history. To activate, press space bar.
I don't know. I just know on my last computer that had...
Let's see. What's his name? Wants us to demonstrate speech history for some reason. Why is that?
To activate, press space bar. But to act button unavailable. JAWS. JAWS. But to activate. But JAWS. Button unavailable.
I'm not sure why he wants us to demonstrate speech history, but he puts insert space H.
New notification. StreamYard.
Oh, yeah.
If you can tell us why you want me to demonstrate speech history, NVDA has a speech history as well that you easily can access.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure why you want me to demonstrate speech history. It can be cool, but
Yeah. And when I do insert
like you can
space
copy
H,
things that it says, but I don't know.
it's not actually taking me to a speech history when I do insert space and H.
What does it do for you?
Just nothing.
Oh, that's weird. Are you sure?
JAWS. Audio repeat. One.
I'm
StreamYard. Google. Blind Earthman. Blind.
Let's see. Insert space H.
StreamYard. StreamYard. Speech history. Button menu.
Huh,
Yeah,
did I
speech
screw
history.
Button menu. Space.
Did I
JAWS.
screw something
JAWS.
up?
Button
Huh?
unavailable. To activate, press space. Audio repeater 1. To move to audio review. Prior center help. But to act 91.
I'm on a laptop
To
keyboard,
screen banner.
but...
Kurtman wearing.
Oh, here we go.
Right.
Yeah, here we... No, it... No, I was wrong. Here we go. There we...
Okay.
Yep.
You have speech history. Okay, I was going to say.
Space run.
Yeah, no,
Edit
that
broadcast.
is nice.
Kurtman where edit broadcast.
But yeah, I will say on my
Add
last
edit,
Windows
host, select,
machine,
learn,
it had
and
8
list
gigs
end,
of
start
RAM. It
com-
was an i7
com
from
show
like 4 or
com
5
Archer
years ago.
658p min space H.
JAWS
Show
was
com list end.
noticeably slower than NVDA. Like it was still usable. It was still just fine. But
Is that with 2022?
no, that was with
Or which version?
2021.
Okay. I know they've done quite a bit of optimization, and I don't find a huge difference between machines, honestly, these days. Yeah, in terms of actually like web apps, well, I think in terms of web apps, there's 2 things that you can do. There's lots of things that you can do. You can enable so that you can have forms mode off, and you can still use the web app commands, and that way you can still read stuff on the web, which can be good. You can also make it so that you turn on and off forms mode, or turn on and off virtual PC cursor. If I hit insert Z,
Off. On.
Right.
I don't know, is that any longer than hearing a sound? Like,
Off. On.
Oh, well, it's just, see, when I do it, it says it's use virtual PC cursor off, use virtual PC
That might be
cursor.
because I have verbosity set to intermediate. So, yeah, the highest beginner option is probably a little more verbose, but I find it to be way too chatty. In fact, I find intermediate to be way too chatty, but I haven't taken a lot of time to actually customize it, so...
Yeah, let's...
The point is that JAWS can say quite a lot, and you can easily cut down a lot of the verbosity if you choose, which I recommend, but, yeah. Let's see.
Unloading.
Well, Harshad either went away or we're not sure why he wanted us to
Yeah.
demonstrate speech history. But if you go into the NVDA menu, Harshad, and you go under Tools, and you go to Speech Viewer, you got the same exact speech history as you have with JAWS. So, other screen readers can certainly do this. You do have a version of a speech history as well. And, of course, JAWS also, I believe, has a Braille history as well.
It does. Oh, that is another thing. Pairing Braille displays I have found to be a lot easier with NVDA if you're a Braille user, particularly over Bluetooth. Like with JAWS, you have to kind of find what COM port it's connecting to in Device Manager and assign it, and it's doable, but it's a
Interesting. It
lot.
should auto-detect it these days.
It doesn't always.
Well, it detects it for the ones I've got. I don't know.
So.
Yeah, seems to auto-detect displays, but if it doesn't, you're right. I mean, you do have to select some of these options.
So I changed.
But it
my
also has a
virtual-
lot more Braille options, too.
It does have a lot more Braille options. A ton more Braille options.
Which you might not actually use, but...
Yeah.
You know,
And it has a lot more like customizability if you're wanting
Yes,
to like emulate
absolutely.
function keys from your Braille display, and if you want to go down that rabbit hole. So I changed my virtual PC cursor verbosity to low, and it's still saying use virtual PC cursor on or use virtual PC cursor off.
no, it doesn't for me. I don't know. I don't think I changed anything else. Just changed verbosity.
And I just
Did you
pressed
save
enter.
the settings after you did it?
Do I have to do anything special to save the settings? I just pressed enter.
No.
So I just
It should-
changed
I
it
mean-
to low, and then I just press enter, right? Once I make the setting change.
Yeah, how are you changing it?
Insert V.
I'm not sure if... No, I don't think it works that way in Insert V. You got to go to the actual settings center.
Oh. How come it doesn't change for the quick settings? That's so weird.
Because I don't think it's changing all verbosity for the screen reader that way.
Audio repeater. StreamYard. Google Chrome.
Let's see. I'm in Google Chrome,
Quick
verbosity.
settings. Chrome dialog. Search box set preview. Virtual cursor option.
What were you changing? Or did you just search verbosity?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first, under...
1.
Yeah, that's exactly
Virtual
what I
cursor
did.
verbosity level medium. 1 of 11.
Yeah, virtual cursor verbosity medium. So I think that's just for reading stuff on the web. I don't think that impacts most of the screen reader. So I recommend changing your verbosity. If you go to JAWS Settings Center,
JAWS context menu. Option.
Okay, let's see.
Util voice.
I guess I could have hit Insert
JAWS
6.
screen. Synthesize sound.
Yeah.
Clock
Let's go to
settings.
Settings
Send
Center.
streaming menus. StreamYard camera or microphone.
Let's go type verbosity.
8 search results list box. Web verbosity level medium. Configure web verbosity.
And we just want the
Speech
setting that
verbosity.
simply says speech
Level
verbosity.
intermediate. Speech
And you want to change
verbosity.
that speech verbosity for
Oh, okay.
that. I'm pretty sure that's the one that changes it. So, I don't know. JAWS has a billion settings. Play around, change
Yeah.
all of them to intermediate, and I'm sure you'll get there in the end.
Cleared. Previews.
Do I have to open
StreamYard
that up from within, like, the app I want to change it for, or just...
No,
if I
so
open-
with JAWS, you can actually choose. So if you open up Settings Center, and this is another cool thing I like about JAWS. I mean, it's the same with other screen readers as well.
Chrome JAWS settings center dialog.
If you open it up from within the app, it'll open it up only for Chrome. But if you hit Shift-Tab,
Application combo box. Chrome 30.
you can change the application. And the first one that you can hit is, I think there's a hotkey Control-Shift-D, but the first one is
Default all app.
Default All Applications. But if you open Settings Center from any app, it will open up the Settings Center for that app if there's a associated JAWS configuration for that app.
Yeah.
So...
Okay.
Stream. Unload button unavailable.
Anyway, it's quite powerful, and yet I don't use it. And the reasons I don't use it are because of Dvorak. Also, I tend to find that NVDA is a little bit more responsive in some web apps. Depends on the app, because JAWS has come a long way, especially with docs. And but yeah, NVDA is still a bit more responsive in certain places. But overall, I really do find that JAWS to be a much better screen reader, much more configurability, customization, which is really funny to me that they have the keyboard layout so locked down. And there is no option in JAWS to change it so that it accepts the keyboard layout you change it to. So,
Yeah.
they could probably fix this pretty easily without doing too much work, just by adding a language called Dvorak in JAWS. I don't know. And then remapping all the keys. But there we go. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's good. I changed my speech settings. Cool. Yeah, that's
Good.
much better.
Good. All right. Do you have anything else there, Kurt?
Not really. I mean, I think so. Obviously, the I guess elephant in the room is price, and is all these extra features worth $90 a year
Absolutely.
for you? You know,
100% it is. And I say that for a number of reasons. Number one is $90 a year is less than a lot of subscriptions you pay for. A lot of your Netflix, cheaper than your Netflix subscription, cheaper than your whatever. For that price, you are getting the latest updates. And for that price, you are getting so many more features, so much more customizability. The question is, do you care about it? And is your screen reader that you currently have meeting your current needs? Narrator is a fine screen reader. It's coming a long way, but it's very limited. I could go through all of its settings in less than 5 minutes. And so, if you're a user that wants more customization as to what you hear and how you hear it and when you hear it, Narrator is not the option for you.
no.
Chromevox, same thing. It is a great screen reader for Chrome OS, but it's incredibly, incredibly limited.
Yep.
NVDA, it's less limited, but it's limited compared to JAWS.
Yeah.
And when you pay for that subscription, I don't think it's that high of a price. I think the $1,100, $1,200, whatever it is, dollars for the Pro subscription is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Wow, that's terrible. I also think that paying for the home subscription outright is a terrible idea.
I agree.
But in general, I do think that the $90 subscription is a good deal if you can get it in your country. And yes, it is a lot of money, but it is a lot cheaper than any other, most other subscriptions that you could possibly get.
Yeah.
And while I don't think that you should have to pay a subscription to access a machine that you should ordinarily have access to, I have a lot of issues with that. We're not at the point where you can do that for free and still get the same quality.
No.
And until we get there, I think paying is, for better access is worth it. And
Yeah,
in my
I mean,
mind,
I
it is.
did it. I did it. The other thing, too, is it seems like every year JAWS is adding more than NVDA.
Yeah, NVDA is very much stagnated. I will say that. It really has. It's very much stagnated. And when I see the change logs, it's like, oh, here's a few things. Here's a couple of updates to some tools we're using. Oh, here's a security fix. Oh, here's some bug that we fixed. but there's nothing really new in the screen reader. It's not innovating in any way. It's not. It's stagnant. It's a very stagnant screen reader, and I don't know. I just hope it doesn't die. That's all I can say. But in my view of it, it is very much stagnated. There's a lot of things they could add. There's a lot of things they could do that they haven't. And in the second half of our topic of are screen readers innovating, and what can they do to innovate, there's a lot that's been happening lately in the area of computer vision, of making a lot of things happen in how text and how things are detected to be rendered to the user. There's a lot that's been going into that, and what I mean by that is you're no longer relying on some API or something some developer has to follow in order to make accessibility happen. One example of that is some of the image descriptions that we're getting and in Chrome and Edge and that kind of thing. I can eventually see screen readers leveraging some of that and actually coming up with something that actually does the job of reading, and it's not just scraping some information that it's handed from some video intercept or some whoever. And that means, in my mind anyway, that the user, have a lot more control over what the screen reader reads. It's not reading a bunch of garbage like frame this and that, like things that most users don't care about. It's focusing on the content, which is what people do care about. And I'm not so sure I see screen reader manufacturers necessarily going in that direction. I don't have an insight into what a lot of them are doing, so I can't say for sure they're not doing it. But the closest one that I see that is doing it is VoiceOver.
Yeah.
And VoiceOver has, for right now, the ability to literally recognize an app and make it so that an inaccessible app magically becomes accessible. Is it perfect? No. It's got a lot of issues.
Sometimes it makes things worse, but often
sometimes it makes things worse.
But it's new.
But you have that option, and it's a new thing, and it's incredibly innovative in the way that it does things.
Yeah.
So when I see something like that, it gives me a lot of hope for what screen readers can eventually do and what we as blind people can get access to, things that are right now not very accessible. Imagine getting your computer and trying to get through the uninstall of all that garbage that comes through your computer, like Norton, and you find that the Norton installer is not accessible.
Not at all.
Well, if you have a screen reader that's able to actually, make that accessible by allowing you to not only read the items on the page, because you could do that with OCR, but now you can also navigate to those things, and you can actually click on those things and do other things with them, tab to those things. And the idea is that this will become so that you, the user, don't have to get into the special mode, that it's kind of, oh, hey, this app's not accessible. Okay, well, we can make it accessible. Will it be perfect accessibility? No. But, I don't necessarily see JAWS and NVDA doing a lot of that. I don't see that happening. So, do I see them innovating? I don't know. I don't really, especially in the case of NVDA. I've just seen them kind of stagnating, just stopped innovating. I can't think of too many new features that have come to NVDA since probably 2015. And maybe that's a little exaggerating, I don't know, but I just can't think of anything. Like, what has NVDA truly added that's really been transformative in that amount of time? And yet I see JAWS doing things. Some things are gimmicky, but,
Yeah. Hey, Sharky.
We've got... Exactly. But we've got things being added. Good job. But we've got things being added, and what I find gimmicky might not actually be for somebody like a senior who just wants to get some basic things done, who doesn't want to go through a lot of menus.
The thing I just did is actually probably a good example of a feature that is very useful for a lot of people. That's
exactly.
Not very
You can
me.
say, increase your speech rate, or, some very basic things that a lot of users struggle with.
Yeah.
Because they don't remember the command, or... they're just like, oh, my JAWS is too slow, but I don't know how to speed it up, so it's just going to be this way forever.
Sorry, by the way, if I just triggered anybody's voice assistant.
Yeah.
Hope you were wearing headphones there. But yeah, I mean, so one thing that I'm excited for with, AI and machine learning and those buzzwords is I feel like a lot of the problems we're having with accessibility right now, and you're actually working in the space, so kind of correct me if you think I'm off base here. A lot of it is different users want different things, or different users expect different things for accessibility, and, you do something for someone, it's going to make it hard for someone else. Like, it would be nice if you could have, 5-10 years down the line with the technology a little more mature, if you could have a screen reader that totally knows, like, exactly how you want to read a website and just automatically shows things to you the way you want to see it. Like,
That's right. Yeah.
and Nimmer, our screen readers might be very different. Maybe they wouldn't
That's right.
be, but like that would be cool to have
Yep.
it actually based around each person.
Yep. And, each person gets to personalize it for their own taste and their own needs, their own voice, their own everything, what is said when. And you can, to some extent, do that now, but there's a lot of configurability that goes into it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you switch computers, you have to set it all up again or transfer a configuration file over or whatever. But, yeah, so no, I don't think that we're actually making a lot of strides towards that. Some companies better than others.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that we all eventually maybe get there, but I don't know. I hope that NVDA steps it up, provides more competition, actually innovates a little more. There's a lot of things I'd like to see added to NVDA. Search box for settings.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Sound schemes, something similar to the text analyzer. There's tons of things that I would find, building in place markers, a ton of things that would be really helpful that are currently and I have a bigger problem with NVDA because when add-on developers develop add-ons, they're told in a year, basically your add-on is useless because now you have to update it. In some cases, it might be as easy as updating a manifest file that says, it's updated to the newest version. But in other cases, there's a lot more work involved because something broke. And, how long are add-on developers going to be doing that? And so NV Access needs to address that, and they need to do it very quickly because all they're going to do is alienate users who want things to work that no longer work. And add-on developers who try to develop add-ons, and they're having to do extra work every single time something, and add-on developers, frankly, are volunteers. It's not like they're getting paid to do all this work. They're volunteers. They find a need, they do it, and should you expect a volunteer to come back every year and update their add-on and do all this testing and meet all these requirements? Like, I don't think that should be the case.
No.
So I think NVDA's got some issues for sure.
So is it easier though for like your average run-of-the-mill programmer? Is it easier to make an NVDA add-on or a JAWS script? Like, I know that's probably maybe not even a question you can answer because it might totally depend on the app and what you're doing. But like,
yeah, in many ways it does depend. But I would say, NVDA add-ons are pretty much, they're Python. So if you have working knowledge of Python, of course, you still don't really understand the screen reader or whatever. If you do, then great. But otherwise, there's still a learning curve.
Yeah.
JAWS scripting is pretty powerful too. But it's either one, I think, takes a kind of a specialized skill set. Like, I don't think any person can just say, oh, yep, I'm ready to write a JAWS script or I'm ready to write an NVDA add-on. Like anything else, it takes a little ramp-up time. But I would say there are a lot more JAWS scripts out there in the wild.
Right.
And you've got a lot more extensibility with things like Lisi and, whatever. Like, there's a lot of...
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other thing with JAWS is for people who care, like, I guess maybe this is only a US thing, but you can actually call and get tech support on the phone. Like, that's
Have
not
you done
nothing
that?
For some. Yeah, it's been a while.
Did you have success?
Yeah. Once upon a time I did. But
I can't say I've been very successful, but yes, you're right. You can definitely call and get support for JAWS. You're right.
The thing is, though, Nimmer, you and I are not people who are gonna that service will be very useful for most of the time. Like, having worked in tech support, most of the people who call
No, you're right.
people
You're
who
exactly
need
right.
help doing basics things or intermediate things.
Yes.
And so for people who care, having that option on the phone could be, I don't use it very much.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And I think people benefit from that. And of course, that's why we've got Microsoft Answer Desk and Google Help Desk and all these other disability, Be My Eyes, that links to some of these.
Yeah.
But yes, I do think that it is a distinguishing. You can pay for NVDA phone support, but which is still going to be cheaper than paying your $90 for JAWS probably a year. I guess it depends on how often you call or whatever. But
yeah.
But yes, so that's kind of where we're at. Let's see. Looks like we got 4 watching. And we'll probably start to wrap it up. Let's see. Kurt, do you want to come up with a word?
Let's come up with a word. Let's say... balloon.
Oh, I like balloons. All right. So let's come up with a word. The word is balloon. So you're going to send that. We still don't have an email address. Every time I keep thinking to myself, we should create an email address, and then I leave the stream, and we never create an email address. Okay, send this balloon to Nimmer, Nimer, Jabber, Jaber, #1 @gmail.com. If you've seen me on mailing lists, that's the email address everybody has, including all the spammers, so I have no problem giving it out. So Nimmer, Nimer, November, India, Mike, Echo, Ralph, Jabber, Jab, like Bravo, E like Echo, R. Well, it's not like Echo, it is Echo.
Right.
So Jaber 1, the number, not the word, the number,
Yeah.
@gmail.com. If you don't know how to spell Gmail, Google it. Having said all that, I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you very much for
Very good.
joining me. Happy Ramadan again for everybody celebrating. Enjoy your fasting. Remember to reflect and pray and all that. Happy, I think next week, beginning of Passover and Easter
Passover,
and all that. Is that
Easter,
next week?
Good Friday, all that,
maybe 2
yeah.
weeks from now. I don't know. All those are coming up. So happy those holidays. And thank you very much, Kurt, for joining in.
Always a
And
pleasure.
If you guys have any feedback, feel free to leave it in the comments and the suggestions. Or use that email to spam me. That's fine. And next week we'll do the drawing, so join us again at 6 Eastern. No. 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, and the same normal time for the drawing of whoever it is that gets the $100.
Very good. Very good.
And no, Kurt, you can't win.
Dang it.
Well, you could leave the podcast or the channel. You'd say, I'm done with this channel now.
Get $100.
Then you could email me and be eligible. And then afterwards you can come back and say, hey, I would like to come back now. And no, maybe that won't work.
No, I'm not actually going to do this. This should be for listeners or viewers or whoever you are. But
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, everybody.
I'd still be
We'll
paying
see.
for StreamYard, huh?
Very true, because we can't figure out how to
I'm
cancel
locked
that.
in.
Yeah, you're locked in. Well, you're kind of paying for it. I think you're paying half of it, so yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Or maybe sooner if we put out a short video before then.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.